Well, it's December the 27th, and I kind of check in on the current situation here on the post-election and with all the budget battles going on here. It's kind of interesting. Basically, my last video from Christmas Eve pretty well framed everything pretty accurate. I just saw Senator Toomey making just about the exact points I was making in the previous video. So maybe a little more cautiously in some areas. Where we are right now is of course, in a way, President Trump kind of has the Congress over a barrel at the moment because they can't on the big. Now, I emphasize it's the budget bill plus the COVID stimulus. It isn't just the COVID stimulus; it's a single package of 2.3 trillion. And here's the thing: the Congress can't override a veto that hasn't happened yet. And the Congress will actually run out of time. In other words, this whole Congress will expire before the 10 days that he has to make his decision according to the Constitution. So he has a rather interesting leveraged position of a sort. And so that on the other hand, exactly what's his game? What would he consider a win to really be? A Democrat-controlled Senate, is that the win that he would have? I mean, I don't know what his game is at this point. But as I always say about Trump, is he crazy or is he crazy like a fox? I'll give you an example of the crazy like a fox thing, which may be the case. Remember when he said during the election he didn't care what happened to Susan Collins? Well, guess what happened? She seemed to turn her election prospects all around, and she won. So, I don't know what this will do. I mean, in a certain way, Nancy Pelosi is going to bring the House back tomorrow, and I think one of the first things on our agenda is to override the Defense Authorization Act veto, which should I believe will go through the House okay, unless a lot of the Republicans join on with Trump on this with the Section 230 stuff. That's another aspect we're looking at here. And the other thing, of course, is I believe she will put forward the $2,000 check plus up from the current $600 in the bill, and as a standalone measure, and she certainly can pass that because that only requires a simple majority, which they currently have easily. So I suspect that will come out, and then we're left with the Senate supposed to come back on Tuesday, presumably to do the override vote on the Defense Authorization Act. Now we don't know what exactly is going to happen there either. In principle, it should be fairly easy for them to override it. It does require a 2/3 vote to do that, however. So that's interesting to see what happens on that. And then the question is, what do they do about the standalone $2,000 check bill? And remember, President Trump isn't just talking for $2,000 checks. He wants reductions in a lot of these porculus type measures in the overall spending package to be removed. But there's no way the House is going to do that. So at least not in the short term. So the result is that and then the government shutdown will occur at midnight on Monday night if there isn't an extension approved. And as far as I know, the Senate won't be there to do it yet, unless Trump, of course, signs the bill, which I think most people are urging him to do, except for far-right conservatives, I think. And so I don't. Also, the unemployment extension, the employment benefits will expire for those that are actually unemployed. So aid to those that are really in need ends, while a battle wages largely for people that aren't in need, but might not mind to have the money. So I don't know. This is the situation we're in right now. And it'll be interesting to see. I haven't heard a peep out of anybody that's relevant here. I haven't heard a peep from McConnell. Haven't heard a peep really from Trump, really much to speak of, other than he's standing his ground. And again, I don't know what his exact gain is. so one tends to think it's kind of just very annoyed about the election outcome. So, and I guess, well, there you have it. So anyhow, that's kind of where we are today on that. Another problem that actually faces it. So let's just assume that McConnell decides, okay, let's let Trump win. We better, because otherwise, who knows what other mayhem he might cause us. The problem, if it is, of course, is if he goes for unanimous consent to pass the $2,000 checks plus up from the House on Tuesday and asks for unanimous consent, I don't think he's going to get it. I mean, I would think that Rand Paul, for one, would be glad to would say no, and I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe Toomey will too. After all, he's not ever running again for office. So what's he got to lose? And who knows who else will do this. So it won't go through by unanimous consent. So therefore, you then get into the Senate process, all those time periods of cloture votes and all the mechanisms, which would take several days, I guess, to actually get the thing through the Senate. It is possible that Nancy Pelosi will put up a temporary extension of the budget, and of course the question is, how long will she extend it? If she extends it, for instance, past Trump's term, to 2020, 2021, at January the 20th in 2021. Then Trump might veto it, because he would see this as a way to kind of eliminate his impact, you might say. So you have a lot of real gamesmanship going on here. It seems like that this is truly all the egos of Washington totally at war with each other. I don't see any real principle in any of this, really, because first of all, when it's all said and done, no matter what happens in the meantime, all the pork is going to get passed anyhow, let's be real. And yeah, I think the $2,000 checks will probably get passed, maybe, if they can get passed this week. Although, and there's, and I don't, because I think the point is it would only take 60 votes to pass, and that presumes every Democrat will vote for it, I assume. So all you have to do is get 12 Republicans, and I think I can think Hawley and Lindsey Graham are on board, and I suppose that Collins and your normal group of people who are, and moderates will probably be on board. I suppose that could be allowed to happen somewhere before the end of the week. So it all gets kind of mixed up. Another question is going to be, or will the budget extension, if, let's say that Nancy Pelosi decides to play hardball, let's say that the budget extension also includes the temporary, is also linked to the $2,000 plus up on the checks. And she decides to hand this over to the Senate side. Oh, so in other words, give us the checks, or else the government shuts down. And my general opinion is Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about the people at all. It's all politics to her. And at this point, I think people might think the same thing about all the other players. But the point is, so the week is going to be interesting, isn't it? So anyway, I just thought I'd give you kind of a preview of what's to come. And it's going to be, I think, a little bit chaotic in Congress, I think, this coming week. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's sort of what I see coming down the line. And I'm not exactly pleased with any of this because, like I said, to me, the real focus is on the Senate elections in Georgia because we want to really limit the ability of the Democrats to run the country if you're a conservative, and you want to look for building something for the future. For instance, getting control of Congress by 2022, or, well, early 2023 after the election, right? So anyhow, if you like these videos, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, and if you hear about this, you could set up your YouTube account and subscribe, and forward them to anybody that might be interested. So, all right, that's it for now. I don't want to belabor this, but it's kind of where I am right now.